Sup? It's Greggatron. Merry Christmas, and I hope you like my shirt. Yeah. It was a gift. Shout out to my friend who gave me this. Today I'm going to be talking about this. Not just the piece of paper. The sword itself I'll show you shortly. So, my latest sword is from Lord of the Rings. It's called Herugrim. And that's the sword that belonged to King Theoden. He was the king of Rohan. He was really that guy in the part 2, the Two Towers. The part number is UC1370, which I'll show you that in a bit. Well, it's going to be in the description. Let's read for a second. Theoden was the noble and courageous king of Rohan and lord of the Riddermark. He led his people to victory against the Uruk-hai and the Battle of Helm's Deep. That was good stuff. Despite overwhelming odds, he then rallied his forces in the defense of Gondor to protect the White City of Minas Tirith and the hope of all Middle-earth. He bravely fought against the forces of Mordor on the Pelennor fields, where he made his last stand. Theoden's armor, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'll just put it up here. Boom. Pause that video. And then later on they talk about the length of it. The whole sword itself is 36.5 inches. The blade is 27.5 inches. False edge blade is crafted of tempered stainless steel. Each sword has a display wall. Alright, and then they show you this. More stuff on the good king. Y'all know I like Lord of the Rings. King Theoden, courageous soldier and leader of the land of Rohan, fell under the power of the wizard Saruman through the slithering machinations of his servant Grima. Only through the intervention of Gandalf the White was Theoden exorcised of Sauron's or Saruman's corrupt influence. Gandalf said, and this was like that golden quote, "Your fingers would remember their old strength better if they grasped your sword." And then Theoden takes the sword up and it's just hell to pay from there. And at that moment, Theoden's mind cleared. His authority as king returned to him, and his great sword, Herugrim, was once more returned to his grasp. Theoden went on to lead the defense of Helm's Deep and the charge of the Rohirrim to the aid of Gondor against the hordes of enemies that assailed the White City. The hope of all men and free peoples then lay in the defense of Minas Tirith. So, without further ado, here she is. Yes. 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 The king of Rohan. That was that guy. That was the dude. Especially in the Two Towers. Like, I loved his relationship with Aragorn and his friends, Legolas, Gimli. But really, Aragorn, that alliance they formed was priceless. That stuff was so good. This thing is really nice. I got it from NobleWares. in Hannibal, Missouri. Shout out to the good family, who sold it to me. The good people, they know who they are. But, yeah. When I saw this sword, I knew I was probably going to get it. It was just a matter of when. Because I don't like to have a lot of money on me all at once. And I don't like to spend a lot of money all at once either. So sometimes I'll just come back later. But I knew it was a must. And it's not even like King Theoden was one of my favorite characters. But he was a really good character. And I really did like his sword in the movie. And obviously outside the movie. Right? See, Lord of the Rings I can talk about for a minute. Let's start with the handle, right? The weight, in my opinion, a lot of it comes from the handle. Look at that. You got the two horses. You can see it says Lord of the Rings right there in the middle. It's got the part number and everything. This is a total, complete, beautiful replica. And I like how this part looks bronze. There's actually a newer version out from this, whereas this part looks more golden. But I like this version better because it's darker and there's different shades of that gold, from gold to black, opposed to it just being one or the other. So in my opinion, this is the superior version. Alright. And also this looks like a heart shape in the middle, in the sense that I think he loves his people. One thing about the king of Rohan, Theoden, he really loved his people. He really did. It's also a one-handed sword. And you probably can't notice, but I'll do this for you. There's actually grooves in the handle for your fingers. What? And I didn't notice that till like recently. Probably today I looked at it, I was like, wow. They really made the handle to where it fits into your hand. It really fits. The pommel down here has got this point right there. That's cool. Very slick. You also have on the handle these rivets. Man, I wish you guys could feel this. I wish you could feel what I'm feeling. And look at all these designs down here. I mean, you can't talk about how beautiful it is enough. Because it really is beautiful. You even got different dots and curves and designs. And then you got the rings right there. Wow. They put a lot into the handle. And then this might be a leathery texture. But you got the separation down the middle, right? So it started here, wrapped all the way around to the other end, and then they sewed it together. Very nice. Very, very nice. You can get this from www.unitedcutlery.com, right? Or just go to NobleWares, where I told you in the first place, which United Cutlery is basically their distributor, I'm assuming. They got to get this stuff from somewhere. I like to stay as local as possible. Now, wow, it's been 10 minutes. Look at this blade. Look at that blade. Here. Let's try to get the light right. Let's try to get the light right. Let's see here. There we go. Again, one-handed. The tip is somewhat sharp, but it could be sharper. So what I like about this blade, you see these lines in the middle going up. You got 1, 2, and 3. Each line has its own separation. So there's actually like a groove in between each line. So from here, 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 and there, there's like different levels. So it's not just a smooth surface. You know what I'm saying? I think that's pretty slick. I think that's super cool. Because it almost feels like it's like 4 blades wrapped in one. Boom, 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 and boom. And then you just work your way up. And it all adds up to about right there. Yeah. This might be the only, well, this might be the only sword that really has it like that. As far as the grooves inside the blade. That's really tight. Super cool. Also, I want to show you the guard right here. There's like some gap in between the guard and the blade itself, which I thought that was kind of fascinating, because it's like, wow, you can kind of see the opening where they placed the blade in there, which is kind of different. See that gap right there? I think that's kind of interesting, because it kind of looks like the blade can just come right out. That's just my mind. Yes. I love the handle. And I love the grooves in the handle. The blade, of course, the blade is that stuff. Stainless steel, I believe. But I really like this guard with the 2 horses. And I like the bronze with the gold. I like that it's not just one or the other. Let's see here. See that? It's like beautiful. Beautiful. I would give this a 10 out of 10. Hands down. I haven't hung it up on the wall yet. I'm just still enjoying it and appreciating it. And even when it comes to the 2 horses, there's texture there. There's texture everywhere. And I love that stuff. Now, like I said, it's about 37.5 inches long. It's a little bit shorter than my Gilhibben saber. Does this look familiar? Gotta do a size comparison. And it's kind of funny because this sword from Lord of the Rings, King Theoden's sword, feels a lot heavier than this baby. A lot heavier. And I'm like, wow, how did that happen? I think I know why, because this is a one-handed sword, whereas this is two-handed. So you need to put both hands on the handle to control it better. Whereas, honestly, I don't know. I'm just saying stuff, but it's a lot heavier. And it can always be sharpened. Now, what sword will I get next from Lord of the Rings? I'm not 100% sure. But I definitely need to go back to NobleWares to get some other stuff. Yes. Lord of the Rings, man. Lord of the Rings was a big deal in my household when I was growing up. Like, between me and my dad, that was one of our number one movies. Even one Christmas, I got my dad the Lord of the Rings, all three of them, the extended editions. Always good stuff. I got all three of them. My dad has all three of them. He actually has the first three, then he has the other three, extended edition. My sister, she has three. And then on top of that, we all have The Hobbit, if I'm not mistaken. So we took Lord of the Rings very serious in my household. So shout out to my dad, who I got him on it. And then he fell in love with it more than I was. So you got Christmas coming up. So he's got something coming his way. He doesn't know it yet. But, yep. Shout out to NobleWares. Shout out to United Cutlery. Shout out to Lord of the Rings. Shout out to Merry Christmas. Shout out to Santa. Shout out. I was talking to somebody about this weeks ago. Somebody said Santa Claus isn't real. And I'm like, Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus is your friend or your family member who gets you a gift. That is Santa. Your people are Santa. It doesn't have to be a fat man climbing through a chimney. Santa Claus is just your loved ones. Point blank, period. So sometimes you gotta treat yourself, but sometimes it's good to treat others. Especially if you know they're good for it. Alright. I will see you in the next video. Peace.